want to talk about some of the highlights of your career. I want to basically ask, who are some of your favourite opponents and who are some of your favourite people to hang out with other than Otis?
Yeah, so I mean, my favorite match that I ever had was, or the favorite match that we had was a live event match in Milwaukee with Eric Young and Alexander Wolf, Sanity. Got the bear hug over. For my opinion, we had the match of the night. I'm sure some people would disagree with that, but they're not here, so fuck them. We just tossed them back and forth in the bear hug, and it was like, I just remember, like, we did the first bear hug in that match, and it was not a big reaction. And by the time we were in the heat, they were chanting for the bear hug, and Eric Young comes off the second rope to do like an axe handle, and Otis catches him in a bear hug for a hope spot, and the place fucking just goes absolutely bonkers. And it's just like, man, like, pro wrestling is so cool and can be so simple and awesome when it's done correctly, and just like, when you have 4 people or 2 people that are willing to really work for the match, and so that was probably my favorite match. Our first pay-per-view match with Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan.
Was that Stomping Grounds?
Pretty fun.
That's a quality match.
Yes.
Really like that match.
And we never got to wrestle on TakeOver, and that was something that kind of we were a bit bitter about, I would say, just because we felt like there was some times that we could have had a better match than maybe the tag match that happened on TakeOver. And again, I mean, we're very competitive human beings, and so it's not like we disparage anyone else's stuff. No, it's just like, hey, like, we think if given the opportunity on a pay-per-view or a big show, like, we can knock it out of the fucking park, but we haven't been given the opportunity. So finally, we get that opportunity in Tacoma. And I just remember that being crazy, man, because Daniel, like, we're the baby faces and they're the heels. And we talked about in the back, like, we're near Daniel Bryan's hometown, like, he's probably gonna get babyface reaction, but we're like, you guys are the baby faces and they're the heels, and like, irregardless of what the audience does, we're going in that direction. Like, we're gonna have a match where you guys are the baby faces and they're the heels. And man, we came out, dude, and it was like, holy shit. We just got booed, like, never been booed ever, and it was like, not that I don't like to get booed or something, but
it was just like, a bit of a surprise. Like,
you've only been getting pretty good pops, or whatever, like, and so it was just like, I feel like it could have potentially been overwhelming, and for our first pay-per-view match, for it to be like reverse of a reaction from what we've had for the last couple years, and then by the end, I feel like, we're getting similar reactions to what they're getting in terms of, babyface reaction, and just that we didn't let that get to us at all. And I feel like we had a pretty great performance. For me afterwards, that was very emotional because to some extent, dude, start to doubt yourself a little bit. If you like, man, I feel like we're good enough to do this, but like, we haven't been given the shot, and like, is that because I'm not seeing something? Is that, ultimately, of course, you start to ask yourself these kinds of questions, and so to do it and get kind of bring it around like that and just sort of have a moment afterwards, I had a bit of cry for myself in the corner after that. Just
didn't realize that match meant so much to you. I mean, as a fan, I loved it, man.
Yeah,
really, really good match.
Yeah. So, that we always had really great matches with the Forgotten Sons, Steve Cutler and Wesley Blake, now Weston Blake. And Steve's in TNA doing pretty well also, so I'm happy for him. I don't know what it was about those guys and us, but it was just creatively, it was such a good collaborative effort every time. It was like people were, there was never like a, no, we're not going to do that. It was always a, oh yeah, that's a good idea. What if we added this to it, or we did it like that, or, and that kind of just awesome positive flow of ideas. You know, it's not always like that when you put a match together. Sometimes it can be quite the opposite and combative to some extent. If the kind of entities see the story going in maybe opposite directions. So, you know, those guys we always loved working with. And I mean, it's particularly on the main roster, everyone's awesome. There's not like everyone's there for a reason. Everyone knows what they're doing. And you know, I mean, the New Day obviously were great to work with. Loved working with those guys. The times you got to work with the Usos, you know, and those are some of the guys I loved hanging out with too up there. The Usos in particular, you know, we would hang out with them quite often outside of work, and especially during the pandemic, you know, when there's nowhere to really go. So I remember watching some UFC cards, you know, with them in hotels and just, you know, shooting the breeze, kicking it. You know, in NXT, like when we would ride the bus, and I remember fondly like getting lessons from, you know, like at one point in time, it was Eric Young, Samoa Joe, Bobby Roode, Shinsuke, Finn was in the back. So it was just like, there's a wealth of knowledge back here.
So much talent in this bus right now.
Yeah, so just to kind of like drink some beers with those guys on the back of the bus and kind of sit under the learning tree was very fond memories that I have.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I used to hang out with Sami Callihan a lot before when I first got to NXT, and had a great time. Me and my wife would hang out with him and Jessica Havoc, and always enjoyed hanging out with those guys. Yeah, it was. I mean, I'll always have great fond memories of my entire time, you know, and just how fortunate I was to be able to spend time with so many amazing and talented people, you know, and even though it wasn't always positive at work,
but the people you're with, like the atmosphere,
awesome.